Speaking of big things, I'd like to invite up Kody. Please welcome Kody from the city of Barstow, and we're going to go ahead and jump into the big project.
Good morning, everybody. So unfortunately, Lena Kent with BNSF had an unforeseen emergency preventing her from attending, but she wanted me to pass along her regards. And as mentioned earlier, Mr. Hopkins, unfortunately, is under the weather. So I got surprised about 8 a.m. this morning that I'll be doing this this thing. So, my name is Kody Tompkins. I'm the newly appointed Assistant City Manager with the City of Barstow. I want to talk to everybody about, the amazing things that are happening within the City of Barstow. I'm sure you guys have heard about the big project. As I mentioned, I want to apologize. With a short amount of time that given, I'm going to continue to look down at my notes because I don't have it memorized. So, and I've got some large shoes to fill with Lena's absence. So, as I mentioned, this project is going to be absolutely instrumental and amazing for the high desert communities as we continue to grow. It will not only impact the city of Barstow as the project is right out our back door, but all the communities as a whole. As they talked about 20,000 jobs, you can think about the amount of rooftops that are going to be needed to support that type of support for those jobs. So I look forward to the positive impacts that are going to be happening not only within the city of Barstow, but our surrounding communities and the high desert overall. So if nobody's heard about the big project, I would definitely encourage you guys to go to www.bnsfbig.com. You can go on the website, subscribe for future updates, and get them fresh off the press. But relatively, a project overview, BNSF Railroad plans to invest more than $1.5 billion to construct a state-of-the-art master plan railroad facility in Southern California. This is the first being developed by a Class 1 railroad. The Barstow International Gateway, or BIG, will be approximately 4,500 acres of a new integrated rail facility, the west side of Barstow, consisting of a rail yard, intermodal facility, and warehouses for transporting freight, international containers to domestic containers. This facility will allow direct transfer of containers from ships to the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, to trains to transport through the Alameda corridor onto BNSF mainline up to Barstow. And this is significant. As we look at the way the process handles right now is we're taking 20 and 40-foot containers off of a ship. They are then transported inland. They're distributed into a 50-foot wide container and then sent around our region and or back down to Los Angeles where they can hop onto a train and then be transported nationally. So this facility will allow significant efficiencies to be improved in this transportation of goods throughout our nation. The economy will bring thousands of direct and indirect jobs. As I mentioned, on a conservative standpoint, we're talking about 20,000 plus jobs. It will keep the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, help clear those out, and will support robust and reliable efficiency supply chains. As I mentioned with supply chains, this will allow more efficient transfer of cargo directly between ships and rails to maximize rail and distribution efficiencies regionally across the U.S. supply chain. It will also improve fluidity through the BNSF network, moving containers off the ports more quickly, and facilitate improved efficiencies in operations at existing intermodal hubs, including the Midwest and Texas. Now, environment, as some folks have implied earlier, we need to think about the environment and our children into the future. This will significantly reduce ports and highway congestion, will maximize rail and distribution efficiencies regionally across the U.S. supply chain and reduce truck traffic and the freeway congestion in the Los Angeles Basin and Empire, allowing for more efficient transfer of cargo directly between ships and rails. So this is an absolutely exciting time, as I mentioned, for the high desert, not just the city of Barstow. And I'm going to go ahead and go through a PowerPoint at this point. We'll see if I can operate this thing effectively, right? So as I mentioned, Barstow International Gateway Project, March 2023. So the city of BNSF has currently acquired, the last numbers that I have been updated with, approximately 85% of the 4,500 acres. Either I'm getting a little old or that's blurry, right? So the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are the largest in the nation, accounting for 40% of goods that move through our nation. And the point, as I mentioned earlier, the overall point of this project is to increase efficiency in moving goods quickly out of the ports and through the nation as quickly and as effective and efficiently as possible. So some of the problems that we see, as I indicated earlier, as we move those containers off of a ship, they're placed onto a truck and then moved throughout our basin. They are then distributed and repackaged in a 53-foot containers. And then those containers are moved either back down to the ports where they can then be placed onto the trains and then moved through the nation. And so one of the important parts of this project is to be able to effectively move them right off of the port onto a train into the big project where they can then be repackaged on BNSF's property and then distributed throughout the nation. So BNSF is proposing to build the big project. This will allow fast and efficient rail services, moving goods and trains directly through the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach through the Alameda corridor, integrated and transloading facilities near Barstow. As I mentioned, $1.5 billion state-of-the-art master planned intermodal facility. $1.5 billion, you're going to hear two different numbers thrown around, and that's 1.5 and then 3 billion. And the reason for that is not only you have direct and indirect improvements through the region and through this area in the project. So it is going to be absolutely fantastic for the high desert as a whole. As I mentioned, the railroad as well as the warehousing is approximately 4,500 acres. How it works? I've already touched on it, but essentially we're going to take it off of the ship. It's going to move directly to a train, move to Barstow's facility where it can be moved directly on the facility into a warehouse, can be repackaged into a 53-foot and then moved throughout the nation to its destination, whether that's Texas, Chicago, or the Midwest. Also, they mentioned 20,000 jobs. It's my understanding that's a pretty conservative number. But you think about what kind of impact that's going to have. Construction alone, it's my understanding, is going to be about approximately 3,500 jobs immediately for construction. So the benefits of this is will allow efficiency transfer of cargo directly from ships to rail, maximizing the distribution efficiency regionally and through the U.S. supply chain, and move containers off the ports quickly. This should reduce port congestion, also hopefully have a significant impact on our freeways. So located primarily in undeveloped land, this ships freight off of roadways, reducing the cost of taxpayers' road and maintenance, and provide job opportunities closer to home.
BIG is our Barstow International Gateway, and in many ways it's an exciting evolution of what Barstow's role has always been to BNSF Railway, and that's connecting one side of the nation's supply chain to the rest of the country.
Barstow International Gateway is uniquely located at the west end of our southern transcon, where our railroad splits, which essentially will allow it to serve Northern California and the Southern California basin.
The vision for this particular location is to help relieve some of the congestion that has taken place at the ports of LA and Long Beach that really started once COVID hit.
BIG is a catalyst for a more sustainable freight system. It's a project that's going to enable our customers to move more of their containers and trailers right on trains to the facility rather than going by truck to transload facilities. The net result, less emissions, less congestion, benefit for our customers and for the communities where we operate.
BIG is going to have both a switching yard as well as an intermodal facility. And so the switching yard is going to allow for more efficient consolidation of import traffic coming from the ports that doesn't need to be unloaded or transloaded, but for movement into the interior. It's going to create a very efficient transloading environment. And we know that supply chains want to transload more cargo from ocean containers into domestic 53-foot containers. This is going to be a very efficient inland point to do that.
So this facility, both a transload and an intermodal facility with adjacent transload warehouses, is going to have solar power on top of the warehouses. We're going to have battery electric yard trucks and also battery electric trucks that are moving from the rail facility to the warehouses for the transload and back. So we're basically eliminating a lot of the emissions with zero emissions technology at the facility. There's real benefits there for the community by operating in that manner. We have a broader commitment to reducing our impact on the environment, including a commitment to reduce carbon by 30% by 2030. So BIG is really an essential element and a catalyst for that more sustainable freight system and reducing our carbon emissions.
Barstow International Gateway, BIG. It is big in terms of its economic impact. It's big in terms of its jobs, both the indirect and the direct jobs. It's big in terms of the quality of life that it's going to offer our Barstow residents.
What will happen at BIG is it'll consolidate many of the handoffs and transitions throughout the supply chain into one consolidated, simplified, and integrated ecosystem.
Does that not get everybody excited? All right. As I mentioned before, this project is going to be an absolute catalyst for the entire high desert region, and look forward to working with our partners, both in the high desert community as well as our government partners. If you guys have any questions, concerns, you want to follow up with this project, I strongly advise you to go to the website, sign up for the updates, and look forward to 2023 and 2024.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Nothing like being newly appointed and being thrown in the deep end. 2 presentations, so thank you very much. Wonderful job.